Hi, my name is Matthew Rasmussen. I'm the bassoonist with Fivemind Reeds. I'm here with composer Jean Ahn. Fivemind was recently the recipient of the Culver City Performing Arts Grant, and with that grant, we decided to commission Jean for a piece that explores her Korean heritage through the medium of the reed quintet. So, Jean, how did we meet each other? How did Fivemind and Jean Ahn, the composer, become connected?
So I first knew Matthew when Matthew studied at UC Davis. I was teaching back then, and he was an exceptional student that I always remembered. And then after then, he later commissioned me to write for a bassoon solo, and then he later had formed this group, and I was so honored that you
Yeah,
commissioned me. That
yeah.
was so awesome.
It's always been in the back of my mind to be like, especially like she wrote me that piece and I'm like, oh, I need to ask her for more music. And so when I pitched it to the rest of the quintet, they were all like, oh, absolutely. I had a whole, I had like literal pitch. Like I was like, here's her website. Let's listen to her music. And they were like, yeah,
Oh,
they're really
that's
good.
so
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. So on that note, tell us about your work as a composer. As I understand it, you're a Korean American composer who brings like Korean, I believe it's gukak, right?
Yeah.
And then like other types of Korean art music into your contemporary Western classical music. So how would you describe your work as a composer?
Yeah, so that answer has been changed a lot for me because like there was a period that I would purposefully not do anything about Korean. And there's some projects that like I purposefully like call it like Korean folk song revisited series, and I have a couple of those. And then there's something that I totally didn't think about it, and people later will come like to me and like it's an orchestra piece that had nothing with Korean, at least to me, but they
Mhm.
would come in, oh, I heard that drum in the middle, that timpani, that was the Korean drum section. I was like, really? And I don't mind. And I thought it was just interesting. And I think it really depends on the project. But because I've done a lot of research Korean music and I've listened to a lot of things now come naturally. Like either I purposely do it or not, and I really don't mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like it's not intentional anymore. It's kind of
Right.
just like who you are and
Right.
whether it comes across as like
Right.
Korean or not Korean. It's not
Yes.
yeah, it's not something that you necessarily are intentionally thinking about
Right,
anymore.
right. There are some projects that, especially some kind of educational project, like piano competition for young pianists, that kind of thing. I purposely want it to do that way,
Mm,
so there are that kind of thing. But a lot of others are, it's more natural.
hmm.
Yeah.
So how would you say like in your music then, what kinds of like ideas and experiences are you like trying to explore? And especially with the piece that we commissioned you for, what's the kind of like I'm also a composer. When I'm thinking, it's like there's kind of this one idea, or maybe this musical motive, or this like programmatic element. What's kind of the thing that is like the through line with the reed quintet piece that we're commissioning you
Yeah.
for?
So before we started this piece, we had a lot of Zoom meeting, and we talked to each other a lot. Like even before getting the
Yeah,
grant, like
yeah.
we started talking. And then what really like touched me was like Five Mind it's about community. That really spoke to me. And especially when you guys told me about that experience that you would go to the gas station, like, can I play for you? And you guys played for someone. Like, because like actually this space that we're recording right now, it's called Chim Studio. This is where I'm a music director here, like where I teach parents and the families of people with autism. And like I do a sing along class, and I've been doing this for a long time. So like community is so important to me. So when I heard the concept of your concert, and like the things that you've been doing, and it's about community. I was like, more than the musical like motive or like the color or anything. I was like, this has to be something communal. It has to be something like that brings together.
Mhm.
That first came to my mind, and then and then as I think about it more and more, I thought about this Korean folk music, especially the Nori, where we have all these like drums and like dances all together, just very natural thing out in front of the market or something like very like natural thing. Like of
Mhm.
course nowadays it's not natural, so people will have to like be trained or something.
Mhm.
But there was that kind of a component in Korean music.
Mhm.
So I started listening to that a lot. And then sometimes I was like following the rhythm of like analyzing and that, but then at certain point I kind of like okay, I'm not going to like really dig into too much of the original. I'm
Hmm.
just going to borrow the concept.
Hmm.
So this new piece has 5 movements, and like it has, is it? It's sort of a Korean, like there's some Koreanness in there,
Hmm.
but it's not actually following exactly the Korean traditional like rhythm in like exact that way. I borrowed a lot, and there is definitely some call and response there. There's this long, long glissando and like amorphous things that's happening, but I organized in a way that just like my vision of Five Mind.
Hmm.
So it's really like 5 movements,
Hmm.
and like I'm giving like thinking about each five individual a lot too. But it's like, so I don't like exactly know like, okay, so this is that, this is that,
Hmm.
but it has like all these things together about the community and the Five Minds.
Yeah, and that's really I'm really glad that you brought this up. We haven't organic, we haven't talked about this yet,
Uh,
but that is something that's really important to us to
mm,
remove that kind of barrier
mm,
of like classical music. You need to show up in
mm,
a suit and you need to sit there.
mm,
The performers come on stage and
mm,
then they get ushered off. You can't talk to them.
mm,
Our concerts are
mm,
if you're able to come to the concert, we
mm,
go talk to the
mhm,
audience during intermission. We're
mhm.
talking until we play.
Uh-huh,
Usually
uh-huh,
one person's like in
uh-huh,
the audience
uh-huh.
lingering and the other four are like we have to play now.
I love that. I love
But
that.
it's like it
Yeah.
that creates that sense of community
Right,
where
right,
it's
right,
like you're
right,
not okay,
right,
Mozart is great,
right,
Beethoven's great,
right.
but then presenting that as part of like
Mhm.
a like the audience is involved in this as
Right,
well, as
right,
opposed to
right,
the audience is here to see
right,
the spectacle of like music.
right,
Like
right.
music
Yeah.
is a community thing and
Uh-huh,
that I believe and I'm assuming
uh-huh,
you believe
uh-huh.
is in all of us.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Music is inherent to being
Totally.
human,
Yeah.
and so I'm glad that you brought that up
Uh-huh.
because that's really in line with what
Hmm.
Five Mind is like
Yeah.
as well. So, in terms of the piece, um, you talked a little bit about your process.
Hmm.
You talked a little bit
Hmm.
about like we met, of course.
Uh-huh.
We talked a lot about the
Hmm.
instrumental limitations, things
Hmm.
like that. You
Yeah.
talked about how it seems like it's more kind of our mission. It's
Hmm.
not so much like here's
Hmm.
a story you're trying to tell,
That's right.
but it's
Yeah.
like this piece
Uh-huh.
itself
Uh-huh.
represents
Uh-huh.
kind of our collaboration
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a very good way to say it.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like it's
Uh-huh.
like it's not
Uh-huh.
this piece is about the experience
Right.
of coming together with fellow artists in your
Totally. Yeah,
community
totally.
to make a
Yeah.
new piece of music.
Yeah.
And so
So
I
during the process, like, and to be honest, still I'm doing it. And like I've been like contacting each individual
yeah.
performers like constantly
Yeah.
and like getting recordings from them, like do this, like taking a little scribble and like taking a photo and like sending them, what about this? And like constantly back and forth. So what have been written like so far, there's no way I could have done it myself.
Mhm.
And like it's not just like checking if it's possible or not. Like by listening to that recording, oh, okay, I'm gonna go that route. Like
Mhm.
it's really like musically, it's totally changed a lot too.
Mhm.
So this is totally collaborative, and a lot of sections I just had to apologize to them a lot that I'm sorry that I'm asking you to compose, because I'm asking, should I do this like longer, or should I do this like in like different kind of timbre? Like I'm asking so many things, and like some of them I'm still letting it open so they can decide.
Yeah. And I think that that helps us as performers as well because of course you're still the composer. Maybe we contributed like 2%, but it helps us to be like, what is the idea the composer wants? And that's also something that happens in classical music too. The
Mhm,
composer is so revered
mhm,
as this person who can kind of do no wrong.
mhm.
But the fantastic composers like Mozart wrote little notes in his horn concerti to his friend to be like, I hope you don't crack this note. Like composers have always been collaborating with
Right, right,
performers.
right.
And so like just reminding ourselves and
Mhm,
reminding our community that
mhm,
like this is like classical music has evolved
mhm,
past like rich courtesans like paying for people to write music and
mhm,
hiring performers, and it's evolved past that to be something that represents the community and something that gives back to the community
mhm,
in
mhm.
general.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for the piece. Come on August 16th, 2025 to the Culver City Presbyterian Church to hear Jean Ahn's new piece for reed quintets, another new commission by Nishagarn Chiracharaspon, and another a full concert of works by Asian and Asian American composers.